Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
New on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
Hey y'all, it's me, your girl, Elena Grace, and you're listening to the first episode of I've Been Thinking in 2023. So welcome back, whatever it is. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate you guys so very much. Now, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be different than our recent usual. It's a solo episode. So I am very excited to do this with you guys today. It wasn't what was planned, actually, but I'm really glad that it turned out this way, I think. So far, at least. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel about this episode after it's recorded, right? But since it's a solo episode, it's going to be a little bit more raw than some of our others. It's going to be a little bit more casual, that kind of thing. But I'm excited to talk to you guys today. So, with it being we're into the second week of the new year, which is really exciting always, but that also brings with it lots of goal setting and pressure to have goals set and to be fresh and to do new things and all of that. And today's episode, we're going to talk about goal setting and some kind of tips and tricks and things that I do and goals that I'm setting. And we're going to talk and reflecting and all of those things. We're going to talk about all of it. But also, we're going to talk about how it's not that serious, right? So all that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for being my listeners. So before we get started though, and before we like really get into it, just so that I don't forget, I do want to mention and make sure that we talk a little bit about Instagram, reviews, and Patreon, okay? So first of all, follow the podcast on Instagram. If you are a listener and you're not following already, go give us a follow. That's just where I do the majority of the posts about the pod, where I keep you guys up to date, talk about things that are coming up, post about what's coming up, that kind of thing, post about blog, things I write. All of those things, that's going to be on the podcast Instagram at I've Been Thinking Pod. You can follow my personal as well at Elena Grace. And I would love for you to do that too, just so we can be even more of a community, more of a family, right? But follow the pod just to keep yourself up to date, right? Second, reviews. Please, wherever you're listening, if there's a review feature, give us hopefully a 5-star review. Please, please, please. You have no idea how helpful that is, how much that affects the pod getting out there and getting to new listeners and our community growing, okay? It is absolutely essential. So if you could please leave us a review, a 5-star rating, all of those things. Leave us definitely on Apple Pods if you listen there, and hopefully on Spotify if you listen there as well. Leave us a review. I would be so grateful. And then anywhere else, I would love that. So please give us good reviews. And you know what? If they're not good reviews, that's okay too. Leave them and tell me, and maybe we can grow and change and be better, be even better, right? So finally, Patreon. Patreon is where I post exclusive content. You'll get video content there, extra episodes, that kind of thing. And in this new year, we're going to be doing even more new episodes on Patreon, more exclusive episodes with Tyler and I. We're going to hopefully bring back the book club that was a part of the original incarnation of I've Been Thinking. And we're going to try to make it worth your while and worth the few dollars you throw into that. It's not very much. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's $3 for the minimum, maybe. It would be so helpful for the whole I've Been Thinking team if you provided, monetary support if you have it, but at the very least, go give us a review. You have no earthly idea how helpful that is. So with all that being said, let's talk about goals and goal setting for 2023, okay? Now, let me give you a little ASMR real quick. So that was me opening my notebook. I'm going to tell you guys a little about some of the goals that I've set for 2023. And also I'm going to tell you about goals that I set in 2022 and ones that I met and ones that I didn't, okay? And I'm doing this for a purpose. So in 2023, I set goals for emotional growth, and that includes focusing on rest and self-care and reflection. I set goals for artistic growth, which includes working towards scaling my art into a business and also creating out of passion and not out of necessity. I goaled podcast growth, so that includes growing my listenership, and that starts with you guys, giving us good reviews, sharing with your friends, that kind of thing. So if you could help me reach my goals this year, that would be beautiful. But that also includes, setting a schedule for recording and content creating and being more organized with that, because that's something that I struggle with. And then I also goaled for social growth. So expanding my creative endeavors on social media platforms, utilizing what I have, right, and growing from there, that kind of thing. So those are some really big, important goals for me. And if you follow the blog, and that's on I'veBeenThinkingPod.com, you can go there and you can read some more of my writing about this topic, that I kind of go in a little bit of a different direction in that 2023 goals and reflection post than I'm going to go in today. But yeah, if you want to check that out, I do recommend reading that post because it was pretty good, So now I'm going to read to you some of the goals that I set on my vision board for 2022, okay? My 2022 vision board was separated into 6 categories. First, personal life. I goaled traveling to new places, making new friends, which luckily I did make new friends this past year after having moved 12 hours away from my family and pretty much all of my friends. That was really difficult and also really important for me, right? So I wanted to travel to new places. I've not been able to travel a ton this past year, but definitely been to New Orleans a bunch. I've been to Pensacola, that kind of thing, Chattanooga. So I have gotten to go new places this year, just not nearly as many as I wanted. But thankfully I was able to hit that one. Find a better job. I came into 2022 with a part-time job as a tennis coach, right? And it was okay. I enjoyed it a little bit, but I definitely enjoyed the people I met there. But, I was getting paid $11 an hour to not do a whole lot, but still I had to drive 30 minutes a day. It was a lot, okay? And it wasn't for me in the end. So luckily I found a better job. So honestly, I want to check these off. Where's my pen? Not the pen I wanted, but we're going to go with it. No. Oh no, this one's better. ASMR. Okay. Okay. Travel to new places. Make new friends. Find a better job. So when I was, we were still new here, I was driving back from work one day and I saw the art gallery that I work at now. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to call. And I did. I called. And I just said, are you hiring? She said, well, not really, but you know what? Come on in anyway. And she hired me. And it has been honestly really wonderful. Sometimes I complain about it. I'll complain about any job I ever have, y'all. And that's the damn truth, okay? I'm just not meant to work for somebody else, first of all. But I'm not meant to work. I do not dream of labor, okay? So I'm very grateful for my job at the gallery and everything it's opened up for me and continues to open up for me. It's been awesome. So I'm really proud, actually, right now, looking at this vision board, the things that I've accomplished. I also, in my personal life, wanted to learn to cook and prepare new foods in new ways. I think I have started working on that, doing new things. And I also wanted to explore cocktail making. So that's fun. And I have been trying. I'm not that great at it in general, but, we'll get there. So next on my vision board was an I've been thinking section. So I wanted social media growth. I wanted to address more difficult topics with a more critical angle. So I am really proud to say I think that social media growth, it's been okay for the pod specifically, but addressing difficult topics with a critical angle, I'm going to check that off because I think that I have absolutely been working towards that on the podcast, and I'm really proud of that. And hopefully we're going to have even more of those this year. I've got some really exciting things lined up. So next, I wanted to expand into video content and YouTube, and I have definitely done that. I'm so excited and so proud of that. And then I wanted to double my listenership. I can't say I've doubled my listenership in the past year, but I have met, 2 out of my 4 goals. The other 2 were just based around growth and growing the community and the listeners. So, as long as I'm producing great content, I'm pretty happy. I would, again, love for you guys to share with your friends, people you think would enjoy your social media following, that kind of thing, because that helps so much. And that's how, podcasts get more listeners for the most part, is people sharing. But I'm proud of myself. I really am. So, next, where to go. So these were places I wanted to go on my 2022 vision board. Yellowstone. Nope. Miami. Nope. California. Nope. Las Vegas. Nope. Turks and Caicos or the Virgin Islands. LOL. Nope. I did not go anywhere. So that's kind of sad. Well, I told you I went to like Pensacola and stuff, but like that's not that exciting. Now, on the art side, I wanted to find contacts for commissions, and I can happily say that I can check that off. I have been taking commissions this past year. I wanted to start selling on Etsy. Now, I can't necessarily check off start selling on Etsy, but I can check off start selling, because I have been very, very lucky to be selling my artwork in a gallery here, in a boutique in Destin. And as we speak, guys, I'm working on opening up a website for sales. So I'm really proud of myself. I did it. I did those things that I goaled. And then I also wanted to explore new styles and mediums, and I have definitely been working on that as well. So I'm pretty satisfied actually with how my vision board turned out, and checking everything off. Now, I also want to note that I always like to put affirmations on my vision board. And preferably I'll have my vision board somewhere super visible for me every day where I can look at it, I can see those affirmations, I can remind myself of those things. So I'm going to read you some examples of the affirmations on this vision board. I wrote, you are spiritual, you are powerful, you are connected to the universe and to those before you. You are connected to the Creator and you hum to the universal sound. You exude love and light. You make valuable contributions to the world. You have positive influence. You can make significant change. You are beautiful, you are intelligent, and you are confident. Now, for me, those are very helpful and very important things to remember. And reading them out loud to you makes me feel happy. It doesn't make me feel vulnerable or embarrassed or any of those things. Like I was kind of afraid it might. It actually makes me feel very excited, because hopefully some of those will resonate with you too. Now, I said I had a specific reason for sharing with you my 2023 goals and then sharing my 2022 goals. Honestly, my 23 goals, I wrote those a day or so, I think, before the new year. And I wanted them to be vague, but still be specific enough that I would know when I was reaching them, if that makes sense. So vague in the sense of focus on self-care, right? That can be in any form. That can be take more bubble baths, make sure I take my Lexapro every night and I don't forget and skip it, whatever it is, prioritizing workouts, getting back into yoga. That gives me so many options to fulfill that goal, right? And I like that. I was actually really afraid that when I went over my 2022 vision board with you just now, that I would be disappointed, that I wouldn't have met as many of my goals as I actually did. And I was going to use that disappointment as an example for you guys, but I'm actually surprised. I think so. Something that really stuck in my head about my vision board was my places to go in 22. So that was really, really stuck in my brain that I hadn't been to any of those places, right? So that kind of made me feel a little stagnant and like I had messed up or missed something or something like that. But yeah, going back through these specific things actually made me feel proud. So anyway, so my point is that, and my point was in reading to you them in that way, know yourself and know what helps you and what works for you. So, and that can change, right? So in 2022, I wanted these specific things. In 23, I'm goaling more broadly. And that's fine. It's just what's right for me at the moment. And with that, I want to get into some of the tips that I have for you guys that I want to talk about just a little bit, because I want to talk about how they're not always going to work for you, and that's okay, right? So first, I want to hit you with some goal setting tips that I found just when I was kind of Googling literally goal setting ideas and goal setting tips. So this one is a graphic, and it says, number 1, evaluate your situation. So I think that that is actually great advice, and it's very important. So assessing your past and your present is key to setting goals tailored for you. And that's basically what we just did right here, what we talked about. So what has worked for you before and what didn't? In the past, again, setting specific goals has worked at times, and setting specific goals has been demoralizing at times. So based on that, for this year, I really want to encourage myself, and I want to focus on the good and the things that I do achieve. So I set more vague goals so that I wouldn't feel possibly demoralized when I didn't meet something in the time frame or whatever that I thought I might. So, knowing myself and knowing what works for me, that's what we're trying to do. So number 2 on this list, it says make it smarter. And SMARTER is an acronym. This list says that your goals need to be S, specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, relevant, T, time-bound, E, evaluative, and R, revisable. Now, I think that there are 4 good letters in there: attainable, relevant, evaluative, and revisable. The rest of that, for me, that doesn't work. And for you, it might not work either. But you might be listening and thinking, I need specific, measurable, time-bound goals, or else, I'll never achieve it. And that's fine too, if that's what works for you. But that's ultimately what it comes down to. It has to be what works for you, because otherwise you're not going to do it. It's not going to be a priority. It's not going to be something you keep in mind, or it's going to be something you can't get off your mind, and it becomes more of a burden than a goal. And we don't want that either. Now, tip number 3, write it down. I do think that that is important for anybody, because you are going to put intention into that. You're writing it down for a purpose. You know what's going to happen now. You are manifesting it into existence. And hell, even if you don't believe in those things, it's a reminder for you. It's going to help you get there, because you're not going to forget that that's the goal you set. It's not just out there in the ether anymore after you set it in your brain. So I do highly recommend writing it down somehow, somewhere. It can be on your phone, in a journal, in a text message to your mom, like whatever, but write it down. Ideally with your hand, because that just makes it even more intentional, but comme ci, comme ça. So, number 4, break it down. Breaking down your goals into small, manageable steps to overcome overwhelm is so, so important. And we're going to talk more about that here in a minute. But I do want to say that that is something that isn't always helpful for me. Sometimes it just depends on the situation. Sometimes it is very helpful for me to break it down and say, okay, I have to do this, this, and this. Sometimes that makes it worse for me. It makes me less likely to reach that goal, less likely to reach for that goal, that kind of thing. So that is another one of those where you have to know yourself, right? Number 5, hold yourself accountable. Maintain focus and discipline throughout your process, and do that intentionally with purpose to reach your goal. That is hard. And sometimes, if your goal isn't time bound, that might not be as relevant to you. You can say, you know what? This is causing me problems. It's causing me anxiety, whatever. I'm going to take a break. And that's okay too. It's all up to you, who you are, and what your style is. Now, number 6, I really like this one. Reward yourself. Treat yourself, right? So you have to reinforce the positive actions with yourself that you've taken so you can continue doing it. It is absolutely miserable to work so hard for something and say, okay, I have achieved it, yay, and now I'm going to continue working hard. No, you need to take some time to spend some money, whatever it is. You need to reward yourself for that. However that looks for you, whether it is a specific meal, whether it's a milkshake, whether it's buying a new plant, petting some puppies, whatever it is, going on a trip, buying a bag. I love a bag. I love a trip. I love some puppies. I love some food. Ugh, all of these things sound really great to me. But whatever it is for you, reward yourself for your hard work because you deserve it. Number 7, and the final tip in this list, develop systems and habits so that you can make it easier for you to continue accomplishing goals on a regular basis. So maybe your goal is to go to the gym more. Create a habit of, going to the gym at a certain time every day and having your bag pre-packed and all of those things. Maybe your goal is eating healthier. Create a habit of meal planning on a certain day of the week. So that way you've got all of that planned, the groceries purchased, all that kind of stuff, so that it's easier for you to achieve that goal. Whatever it is, maybe your goal is reading more books. Set yourself a timer and read a book for 30 minutes a day. Whatever it is, but develop those habits to allow yourself to achieve your goals, and you can continue achieving them and growing within them. Next, I want to talk some more about the break it down tip, okay? So goal setting is really difficult, and that's okay. That's really okay. It's kind of not meant to be easy, I don't think. It's meant to cause you to reflect and to think critically and all of those things. And we love that around here, right? But I found another really good little graphic. It's from a book, and I don't know what book it is from. So I would just want to say that this was not my concept, but because there's no source on what book this is, okay? But it breaks it down, and I'm going to put this in the blog post for today's episode so that you can visually see it, okay? It says, future purpose connects to present priority. So we're goal setting in the now. So first, we set our someday goal. What is the one thing I want to do someday? So for me, I want to be financially free, and I want to work for myself. So based on my someday goal, what's the one thing I can do in the next 5 years? So I set a 5-year goal. Based on my 5-year goal, what's the one thing I can do this year? So I set a 1-year goal. Based on my 1-year goal, what's the one thing I can do this month? Monthly goal. Based on my monthly goal, what's the one thing I can do this week? Weekly goal. And based on my weekly goal, what's the one thing I can do today? Daily goal. Based on my daily goal, what's the one thing I can do right now? Honestly, that's pretty good. That's pretty powerful. That is a really good way to break it down if that's what works for you. and if that is what is helpful for you. So I've tried breaking goals down before, giving myself time limits, that kind of thing. That does not work for me. That's not it. That doesn't go well, okay? However, this goal setting in the now, the right now, today, this week, this month, this year, 5 years and someday, that concept both makes sense and is constructive. So you're building off of each other versus just setting goals for yourself arbitrarily along a calendar line, And to me, setting time-based goals typically feels pretty arbitrary. So this concept of building and connecting right now to my hopeful future, that is so beyond helpful. And it is so much, it makes so much more sense than in pretty much any other way you can do that. Now, we're almost finished, okay, I promise. I'm going to talk about a few things that I think are absolutely essential in setting goals that we haven't talked very much about yet. So first, reflection is absolutely essential. And we talked about that in a way when we talked about evaluating ourselves and our past year, but reflection is a little bit different. So evaluating what worked for you and how the year went and all of those things, that's one thing. But understanding your past year with critical thought, through the lens of, this is what happened to me, or this is what I did, whatever, and these are ways it worked and ways it didn't, and things that made me happy and things that didn't, versus just the coldness of evaluating, okay, I met my goals, okay, I didn't. Those are a little bit different to me, at least. So first and foremost, I encourage you to reflect on your year much more than you evaluate your year. Second, and pretty much just as important as reflection, I want you to work to define who you are. Figure out, who you are, what kind of goals that you want to set based on who you want to be and who you are, because that is how you reach success for yourself and not just for somebody else or somebody else's, vision for you, society's vision for you, capitalist society. It's all about production and productivity, and that's not always our goal. That's not always who we are. So put some thought into that. And as you do that, I do encourage you to also work on letting things go. Emotionally, physically, whatever it is, spend some time decluttering your space, spend some time decluttering emotionally, or maybe decluttering your friends list, whatever it is. Find ways to work on letting go of people and things that weigh you down. In 2022, I spent some time with myself doing some reflecting and writing, and I went through a pretty good poetry phase. And, maybe the poetry wasn't good, but the catharsis that it brought me was so beautiful. And I allowed myself, through writing that poetry, to feel things that I had never allowed myself to feel. Like in 3, 4, 5 years of things happening, I had never allowed myself to feel some of these emotions. I had just pushed them down because I wasn't ready. And so finally, one day I was struck by inspiration, and I sat down and I started writing this poem in my journal, and is it really even a poem? It didn't particularly rhyme, none of those things, but it was beautiful and it was kind of lyrical, so I'm going to call it a poem. And Adam walked out of the bedroom and I was sobbing and I was just writing ferociously. He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I just really need to get this out. Thank you for asking, but just like ignore me and I'll be fine." And, he did. No, he didn't ignore me, but he did leave me alone so I could continue feeling. And I can't tell you how beautiful that was for me and how healing it was, because now there are so many things that I don't feel anymore because I finally let myself feel it and let it flow, and it left me. The feelings that I was holding on to, they left my body when I allowed myself to fully feel them and just let them flow out. It was beautiful, y'all. So if you could find a way to let things go emotionally, physically, whatever it is, I do highly, highly recommend it. And that's another, physically letting things go is a goal of mine for 23, because y'all, I got so much stuff. This little condo is packed to the brim. She is full, and it is too much. Next, I want to recommend finding your reason. So in Japanese, it's called ikigai. It's a concept that means a reason for being. In Latin, it's called telos. It is your end goal, your end purpose, that kind of thing. There are so many different words for it all around the world, but I want you to know, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm going to talk more about this, but I want you to know that your purpose does not mean your productivity. It is not the same. It can be. It can be a balance of what your passions are or your talents and what can earn you money. So for me, trying to become a full-time artist, right? And a full-time content creator and podcaster and all of those things like that, I think that's my purpose. And I think something else is my purpose, actually, but I think that is a byproduct of my purpose. And, that is something that you can, to some extent, earn money from. And, that's my goal, is to do that full time. And I'm excited about that. That's a reason for me being here. But my reason for being here is not just to produce and to consume economically, physically. I'm not meant to just go to Target every day and come home and then do paperwork. Like that's not my meaning, and that's not your meaning either. That's none of our meaning. And I just really wanted to say that. So I'll get back to the purpose here in a second. But I do also want to say that I think it is super important to, and I'd never thought of it in this verbiage before, but I found this also when I was looking up goal setting tips. Let fear guide you. So fear, it can really be used to guide you and to build you up when you do it right? So you're not letting fear create anxieties within you that stop you and hold you back. But rather than it being the fear of falling, the fear of failing, right? It's the fear of not reaching your goal. It's the fear of not doing everything you can to chase your dreams, the fear of not following your North Star. So I think that is a really interesting way to frame that. And I think that can be very helpful. I know I myself am regularly reminded that I'm fucking terrified of not not reaching my goals, of not being successful, of being the person that somebody looks at one day and says, oh, I feel so sad for them. They didn't get to do these things that they wanted to do, and now they're 78 years old and they're retired and they don't have very much money and they can't go out and do these things anymore. Physically and mentally and financially, they can't do these things. I'm so terrified of that being me. And I'm so terrified of that being me that I'm doing my best to not let it be me, right? So allowing fear in and letting yourself feel that and grow from it and grow with it and letting it build you up, that's actually really important. So I encourage you to try that out, okay? Now, as we talked about goal setting earlier and how some things work for some people and some things don't, I do recommend that at the very least, you write down your goals physically, because there's something so intentional and special about physically writing things down with your own hands. And there's a magic and a manifestation in that whether you believe in it or not, I believe it's there, okay? But for some people, creating a vision board, like I talked about earlier, that might not be for you. My vision boards are usually me writing things down. Some people create vision boards that are collages of photos and ads and, physical manifestations of things they want that year to bring them. So it's like photos of their dream handbag and their dream trip and their dream job and what they want their hair to look like and what they want their puppy to look like and their fitness goals or their favorite food that they want to learn how to cook, or some French words thrown in there because they want to learn French, whatever it is. Some people do collages like that. I told you guys again, I like it to be textual. I like to write it down because there's such an intention for me with that. And with that, maybe use a planner. So planners are super important for me just for organization and to-do lists and thoughts and keeping everything on track. And then I always keep my planners. I have planners going back into high school still. Most of those are at my parents', I think, if my mom hasn't thrown them away. But I keep them because I can look back in that planner and say, I think this thing happened in 2022. And I can look back in my planner and say, wow, that was the date that I did this. Oh my gosh, and this trip was that weekend. And that was the trip that, XYZ happened. And it is kind of like a journal in a way. So I really love planners and I love keeping them. That might not be for you, but with that, vision boards, planners, making lists, writing things down, those are all super helpful for a lot of people and definitely for me. Lists can definitely help you just kind of keep things in line and manage your goals. And my friend Shannon, she loves a list. She's been not like badgering me at all, not hounding me, none of those words, not negative words at all, but she's like, Elena, lists. I'm like, Shan, I know. You're going to meet Shannon soon, by the way. I'm really excited for that, guys. But lists, planners, vision board, whatever it is, these physical manifestations, those can be super helpful. And now, finally, I am going to recommend that you work on a bucket list. Now, this isn't like a bucket list like that Morgan Freeman movie. Wasn't that what it was? I think it was Morgan Freeman. Where it's literally a true bucket list before you kick the bucket. I would love for all of us to work on a bucket list of the things we want to do in the next year just for fun. just the things that would bring us pleasure and joy and laughter and rest and all of those things. I want us to work on making a bucket list for that. And if you make one, like, please share it with me. Send it to me on Instagram, tag the podcast in it, all of those things. I want to see it because I want to know what's on your bucket list. And that brings me to my very final point of this whole entire episode, okay? Goals don't have to be all about productivity and growth. They can be about fun and joy and rest. And I want you all to know that. I want you to be so sure of that, okay? So I'm going to give you a few ideas from a life goal worksheet that I found online. Source is the 100 Goals Club. So this is, there's a lot of stuff on here. There's stuff about productivity on here, but there's also things like define your core values, attend a seminar, find a mentor, learn continuously, discover your spirituality. Take a staycation, travel within your own country, attend a major cultural event, visit one of the 7 wonders of the world, buy something high quality, take a family driving adventure, drive your dream car, take a day just to pay somebody else to do your chores for you. Imagine that. That sounds so amazing. Go to a theme park, go on a water adventure, like go scuba diving, something like that. Climb a mountain, go out on a date and treat your partner like a VIP. Establish a new family tradition. Go to a self-defense class. Learn a new sport. Take a class just for fun. Go to an entertainment city. Volunteer in your community. Trace your ancestry. Document your life story. That can be a lot of fun. Keep a journal. Same thing. Not necessarily, but can be the same thing. Donate to a charity. These are the kinds of things I want to encourage you guys to goal for this year. I want you guys to try acting, to volunteer at an animal shelter, to go play pool in a biker bar, to go bowling, to go to church, to go hiking, do a home reno all by yourself. Maybe. You know yourself best. You know if that's a good idea. Try painting, try playing an instrument, take a painting class. There's so many easy painting class options if you think you're not an artist. Go swimming, jump in the ocean. Try out a new spirituality. Learn about new spiritualities. Read a book about somebody else's religion. Play tennis. Try pickleball. Hell, I hate pickleball, but try it. Maybe. Get back into yoga, whatever it is. Volunteer somewhere, whatever it is. I encourage you guys to do something that's not just about being productive and what you can create for someone else or for someone else's profit. I absolutely encourage you to do something just for fun or to just allow yourself to rest, okay? And I told you guys I would get back to this. I have realized, and it's taken me too long to allow myself to realize this, but I have realized that my purpose in life, my telos, my ikigai, is to be happy. It's to find joy and to allow others to be joyful and to encourage others to be joyful. It's to think critically and to love thinking, right? And it's the year of the thinker, guys. It's 2023. It's our year. my teammate Tyler, our editor, and we have dubbed this the Year of the Thinker. And I cannot tell you how excited I am for the things that we're going to bring you and the stories we're going to tell and all the ways I hope to enrich your life, but also enrich mine at the same time, right? And that brings me so much joy and satisfaction and purpose that I can do that and we can do it together. I love being happy. And I really think that chasing my passions, that should be everybody's purpose in life, honestly. But for me, it really is my purpose. And it's the purpose that I want to chase. You know, some people can be happy just doing their passions on the weekends and working an office job. And I love that for you. But I cannot. I have to chase my passions full on, pedal to the metal, go after them. And that is my goal for this year, is to get to the point that I can continue chasing and expanding my passions and sharing them with you all. And you know, guys, to kind of bring that home, run that home, hit that, whatever the hell the saying is, I found another kind of inspirational excerpt when I was Pinteresting and Googling and looking at all of this stuff. And it's a little, I looked for the source and I couldn't find it. But it's the kind of thing that kind of is anonymous at this point. At least it gets sent into newspapers and to Tumblr and all of those places, and God knows who actually originally wrote it. But it says, "What is my purpose in life?" I asked the void. "What if I told you that you fulfilled it when you took an extra hour to talk to that kid about his life?" said the voice. "Or when you paid for that young couple in the restaurant, or when you saved that dog in traffic, or when you tied your father's shoes for him." Your problem is that you equate your purpose with goal-based achievement. The universe isn't interested in your achievements, just in your heart. When you choose to act out of kindness, compassion, and love, you're already aligned with your true purpose. No need to look any further. How beautiful is that? How I think we all need that reminder that our purpose is compassion, kindness, love, joy, not productivity. So, with all of that being said, thank you guys for being here for another year of I've Been Thinking. Welcome to it. Welcome to the Year of the Thinker. Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for being a part of the I've Been Thinking community. And I cannot wait for what we create in this new year and what we do together. Just a reminder, again, follow us on Instagram, check out the Patreon if you've got a few extra bucks, and if nothing else, give us a review on Spotify or Apple Pods or wherever you get your podcasts. Ideally 5 stars, but if not, it's okay too. I love you guys so stinking much. Happy New Year, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. I've Been Thinking with Elena Grace is proudly presented by Stoveleg Media. It is hosted and produced by Elena Grace Campbell, and it is edited by Tyler Miller. However, this episode was edited by Elena Campbell because shout out to Tyler's son, Jamie. Happy birthday. Thanks for listening.
Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
New on Curiosity Stream.
I'm James Burke. I'm going to take you on a journey through time.
James Burke's visionary series returns, reimagined for our time.
Now, this is all uncharted territory.
The Washington Post hails Burke as one of the most intriguing minds in the Western world. The New York Times raves he careens from one great moment in history to another.
Where do we want to go from here?
Experience all new connections.
So what's the next connection?
With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at CuriosityStream.com.